Go on, friends. This is Rick, and this is your seat at the table. I am currently dealing with some eye issues. Eye prescription, but these are just less than a year old, and I'm having trouble reading smaller print up close. There's other issues going on. We won't go into depth, so that's why we have a set of reading glasses here. This is Trolls of the Misty Mountains, one of the early supplements that came out when Middle-earth role-playing game, or MERP, was first established. It's considered 3 low to mid-level adventures based on Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, blah, 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 from Iron Crown Enterprises. And I've played this one numerous times because it goes hand in hand with Bree. And if you have the later version of the Shire, this works great with it, as well as the one for Rivendell. So we've got our basic adoption conversion charts, our NPCs, random encounter people, that kind of thing. So, introduction to the Trolls of the Misty Mountains, year 1640, the Third Age of Middle Earth. And the kingdom of Marauding, like all other lands, is still reeling from the depredations of the plague. While the Arthedain finds herself weak from the loss of military manpower, Cardolan is virtually extinct as an entity, and Radur is an Agmurian subject state. Only in the angle along the Coldfells in the southern and southeastern Radur do the Udain settlements remain, struggling to hold out against Hillmen and Dunlandings. All the armies of Middle-earth, including the forces of Witch King Agmar, find himself short of recruits. Acting on the general law and martial activity, the governor of the eastern borderlands, El Sandor, is attempting to boost the border defenses of this last frontier of Radur. Hampered by scarcity funds, the governor plans to strengthen the existing defensive works in the regions rather than building new fortifications. So we talk about Danos and Elnost, are technically border keys of the Arthedain kingdom, the realm having reclaimed the land when it could, when the kingdom of Radur fell, although are physically cut off from the home country except via the Brunnen to the south. They are strongly built with granite block, blah, blah. The problem, although Danos and Elnos are separated by a mere 20 miles and could signal each other in the event of attack, the keeps are separated by the rugged terrain of the East Wood. No reliable roads or paths connect the fortress, and so it requires more than a day of hard travel to span the distance. Both keeps have good roads leading to larger fortresses, the regional command center, but help from this quarter takes even longer to arrive. El Sandor is engaging a reliable party of dwarves to construct a white path through the wood that would connect the towns of Caranandor and Vesper, located near the point where the Eastwood is narrowest in the north-south direction. Taking advantage of the existing paths and animal runs whenever possible, the crew will cut a 10-foot swath through the trees and break up any available rock to provide the kind of gravel base for the road. So the task for the first two adventures revolve around the proposed path through the woods. Prior to the work crew setting out, a small scouting party will be sent in from the town of Dispar to the south of the East Wood, north through the woods to reconnoiter. The Eastwood is known to have become seriously infested with trolls and orcs, especially since the rise of the Witch King. The party will be equipped with a map of the proposed route and will be accompanied by a squad leader from Elnost. They are charged with the task of routing out any small nests of trolls, orcs, or any other creatures that might endanger the travelers on the path, and will be paid 20 gold pieces upon arrival at Caranandor, at the north end of the East Wood. Naturally, any booty found along the way is up for grabs. Game Master should ensure that the Arthedain soldier receives some also, even if it may be against his professional duty to do so. The first two adventures occur naturally as the group fulfills a task. At some point along the way, the adventurers may receive some knowledge of the location and nature of the third adventure. If the group decides to move directly onto the third adventure site, the Game Master should also note that they will forfeit their 20 gold piece reward. Also, the party will be faced with the problem of dealing with the soldier escort from Arthedain. If the group should miss the clue leading to the third adventure site, they will receive the information about the site in Caranandor, although it be much more vague and less directly useful. So the Eastwood talks about the Eastwood, the two towns. Here's a picture of Caranandor, the map, the location, Despair, Adventure at Duildin HIll, Dwarves of Duildin HIll, the coming of the trolls, NPCs that can be found, the 2 wolves. Said both are young creatures of the same litter, 2.5 feet tall, 4 foot long, with silver gray and black coat. They are called by the trolls Hey Wolf and You Wolf, respectively. Although the odd set of circumstances, they become partners with the trolls. So basically, we have a small dwarven outpost that the dwarves have set up that they were going. The ones that are going to construct a road are going to utilize. It's based off an old original starter mine that didn't pan out. The trolls, of course, that become the main problem. It says here, it says, for several years, a small party of dwarves, 8 in all, led by the venerable Duildin, after whom they named the hill, prosper their new location, mining, working copper and iron for various items of worked metal. They were able to trade for food and coin from nearby farmers. In addition, they fished and hunted small game. First arrived, there was a small hold of orcs a little to the north, but they were immediately drove off. No other dangerous creatures have been there since. Because of this, they become lax in security measures, beginning to walk around the woods unarmed. They stopped covering up their trails, and eventually they no longer posted a lookout on top of the hill. How unlike the dwarves. Right, I guess that's not fair because all dwarves are not equal. With the layout of Duildin HIll. There's a Northman, Ronder, the warrior of Arthedain. He's the fellow that's going to accompany your party. You're going to approach the hill, discover something's amiss, explore, troll hole, lookout dome, the hill, troll hole, network, inferior, the task. Main objective is to clear the local woods of trolls for the sake of both the pathway and the local farmers. All the while, the adventurers should be on the lookout for money, treasure accumulated by or overlooked by the trolls. Starting the players, aids, obstacles, terrain full of trees, rocks, sometimes the trees from undergrowth. Slow the movement, those unfamiliar with it, especially at night. Wolves, when the light breeze prevails and blows their way, 50% of the time will pick up the scent of intruders up to 100 yards away. If either does, he will howl to the trolls. During the day, they're inside. They will pick up the intruder's scent when he's within 20 feet. Only traps they encounter the 2 in the dwarf tunnel, both sides of the treasure vault, etc. So, go hunt some troll. Encounters of trolls. Quillum, the troll, is not exactly a gourmet. Floyd lives to kill as much as he lives to live, or kills to live. So there's your 2. There's a third one. Jordan. Make sure he's not in front ranks with any fight trolls, otherwise do his master's bidding. Adventure at the Village of Garkash. So our second adventure. The Orc Village of Garkash lies in a small gully nestled between the large hill in the north, 2 small hillocks to the south. A small stream flows through the gully, which is only 4 feet wide, and at no point is it more than 1 foot deep. Hence, it is all very easy to ford. The village was founded nearly 10 years ago by its current chief, blah, blah, blah. So we encounter these NPCs who are orcs and outcast orcs and others. And at this point, it's pretty simple. You're going to win, you're going to wipe out the damn thing and drive them off, whatever it takes, and loot the place. So, work resident, the neighborhood, the bridge over the small stream, the orc mine. Orc villagers have begun tunneling into a larger hill from the old troll hole next to the residence chamber. Troll hole was originally being expanded to act as additional living space. And there's located on a smaller hill under cover of the bridge. Higanot is a temple to the service of Sauron, so this would be an orcish temple of some sort. Or just a, no, I guess that's set up by the Witch King. Just kind of a random thing they tossed in. Anyway, another thing to go in and wipe out, right? Take care of. The task for this second adventure is most closely follows the conditions set out in the introduction. Orc village is directly in the line of proposed path. The party should either clear out the village and the temple or bring evidences of the size and strength of the village. So of Carador, and these are the only options the party can entertain and still fulfill the terms of their agreement. So basically, your characters go in, wipe out the orcs, or you bring the information back to town so the Arthedain can send in a larger group of soldiers to do the job. Rewards, plus the stuff that you find inside. information on the various orc NPCs. Sarkok, Shardok is aggressive at all times. He never parleys, preferring direct dictate terms to a defeated foe. He is no fool. He will run if circumstances call for it. In combat, he relies heavily on his gauntlet of power to deliver a decisive blow. He has no subtlety whatsoever in his approach, knowing that his clumsiness can only be offset by his great natural strength, augmented by his magic gauntlet. So to hardy capture Shark Dock, he might give treasure finding clues in exchange for his release. He will never, however, lead the party to his own treasure. Wow. So that brings us to the third adventure. The Adventures at Maes Fao. Deep within the Eastwood, between Solon's Cross to the south and the overgrown ruins of Terrador to the north, the wooded hills rise high and steep. In the midst of these hills is a place where the earth seems to suddenly drop out beneath one's feet. A dangerous gorge is located here, well concealed by the tall trees and thick undergrowth near its edge. These 80-foot expanse and 200-foot drop one must nearly fall into to see. So then you got the tail, the NPCs, the layout of the place, the maps, the interior. So here's our task. Adventures into Maes Fao begin with the aim of finding the lost treasure of King Baragor. Once within the gorge, adventurers are almost certain to encounter the servants of Sauron. Thereafter, the list of possible tasks increases to include rescuing prisoners of Caladmir and Aldemir, including Prince Hill, find the treasure stored within the newly dug out caves, eliminate the young black trolls, and the entire breeding population, which is certain to soon cause enormous trouble for the entire region around the Eastwood. There you have it. Right. The Ghost of King Baragor, a couple of bad guys, the trolls, the terrain, the aids, troll number 1, troll number 2, troll number 3, Perfidale, Fiorina is the sister of Arfindale who came to try to find him when he went missing, female trolls, beast chart, master encounter chart. Oh, that's listening. There you go. Just a nice little adventure. Like I said, I've utilized this probably half dozen times for sure. I've used bits and pieces of it because it is an introduction a little bit into the areas around Radour. It's if you have the Hillman, not the hell. No, there's a couple of modules that I'm just drawing a drink at the moment that go real well with this and work together. So if you can get your hands on something like this PDF version, it's an interesting low-level module, and it's quite adaptable for pretty much any fantasy role-playing scenario. Till next time, this is Rick, and this is your seat at the table.